Hey everyone. You know that feeling when you stumble upon something so simple, so obvious you just want to facepalm and yell, "Why didn't anyone tell me this sooner?" Yeah, well, I've had more than a few of those moments in my life. And today I'm spilling the beans on 10 habits, 10 absolute game changers that I genuinely wish I'd started way earlier. Seriously, if I could go back and whisper some wisdom into my younger self's ear, these would be at the top of the list. We all talk about self-improvement, right? New year, new me, all that jazz. But sometimes it feels like this massive mountain we have to climb. What if I told you that some of the biggest shifts, the most profound changes in your life, come from the smallest, most consistent actions? That's what this video is all about. It's not about grand gestures or overnight transformations. It's about those tiny, daily choices that compound over time, building into something truly incredible. Think of me as your slightly older, slightly wiser friend, sharing some hard-earned lessons. No judgment, just real talk about things that actually made a difference. Because let's be real, life throws a lot at us. And in the hustle and bustle, it's easy to get caught up in reacting to everything around us, instead of intentionally creating the life we want. For years, I felt like I was just drifting, letting circumstances dictate my mood, my productivity, my overall well-being. It wasn't until I started experimenting with these habits, some by accident, some by finally listening to advice I'd ignored for ages, that things really clicked. And the best part, they're not complicated. They don't require a massive investment of time or money. They just require a little bit of intention, a little bit of consistency, and a willingness to try. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and let's dive into these habits that I swear, if you start today, your future self will be thanking you profusely. Alright, let's kick this off with something that might sound cliché, but hear me out, a morning routine. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Ugh, another one of those videos," I'm not talking about waking up at 4 a.m. to do a 10-mile run and solve world peace. What I am talking about is intentionally designing your first hour or so to serve you. For years, my mornings were pure chaos. Alarm snooze, frantically checking emails in bed, jumping straight into whatever emergency popped up first. And guess what? My entire day often felt like that, reactive, rushed, and perpetually behind. The habit I wish I'd started sooner wasn't just waking up early. It was waking up with intention. It was carving out a sacred space before the world started demanding things of me. This could be 10 minutes of quiet reflection, 5 minutes of stretching, reading a chapter of a book, or just enjoying a cup of coffee in silence. It's about creating a buffer between sleep and the demands of the day. And the difference? Oh my goodness, it's monumental. You feel more grounded, more in control, and frankly, just happier. It sets the tone, tells your brain, hey, we're in charge here, rather than letting external pressures dictate your emotional state from the get-go. I used to think I didn't have time for a morning routine, but now I realize I couldn't afford not to have one. It's not about adding more to your plate, it's about starting your day from a place of calm and preparedness. Okay, next up, and this one is so basic it almost feels silly to mention, but seriously, intentional hydration. Again, you're probably thinking, yeah, drink more water, we get it. But I'm talking about being intentional about it. For so long, I'd grab a soda, a coffee, a juice, anything but plain old water. I'd go hours without a sip, then chug a glass when I felt parched. And I wondered why I constantly felt sluggish, had headaches, and my skin looked dull. The habit I wish I'd adopted sooner was making water my default, my first choice, and actively tracking it, even loosely. It wasn't just about having a water bottle, it was about refilling it consistently, having a glass of water first thing in the morning, and with every meal. It's about recognizing that your body is screaming for water far before you feel thirsty. When you're properly hydrated, your brain works better, your energy levels are more stable, and you just feel better from the inside out. I started noticing a massive difference in my focus, my digestion, and even my mood. It's such a simple physiological need, yet so many of us neglect it. It's like trying to drive a car without oil. It might run for a bit, but it's not going to perform optimally, and eventually, it'll break down. Treat your body like the incredible machine it is, and give it the fuel it needs. And yes, sometimes that just means another glass of water. This one, oh boy, this one is a biggie, and it took me an embarrassingly long time to master the art of saying no. For years, I was a chronic yes person. Someone would ask for help, a favor, an extra project at work, and even if my plate was overflowing, even if I was exhausted, even if I secretly dreaded it, I'd just say yes. Why? Because I wanted to be helpful. I wanted to be liked. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. But what I was actually doing was constantly disappointing myself. The habit I wish I'd started sooner was establishing boundaries and confidently saying no to things that didn't align with my priorities, my energy, or my well-being. It's not selfish, it's self-preservation. When you say yes to everything, you're implicitly saying no to your own goals, your own rest, your own sanity. I learned that a polite "I appreciate you asking, but I can't take that on right now" is a complete sentence. No long explanations needed. People respect clarity more than they respect an overstretched, resentful yes. Once I started doing this, it felt like I suddenly had so much more time and energy. Time for the things that truly mattered to me, and energy to do those things well. It's incredibly liberating, and it teaches people how to treat you and what to expect from you. It took practice, and it felt uncomfortable at first, but honestly, it was one of the most powerful shifts I made for my mental health and productivity. Next up, let's talk about movement. And before you groan, I'm not about to tell you to hit the gym for 2 hours daily. The habit I wish I'd started sooner was incorporating regular, small bursts of movement throughout my day, rather than seeing exercise as this huge, separate event. For years, it was all or nothing. Either I was going for a brutal run, or I was glued to my desk for 8 hours straight. And most days, it was the latter. I'd feel stiff, sluggish, and then beat myself up for not doing a proper workout. What I learned, and what I deeply regret not integrating earlier, is that our bodies are designed to move frequently. It's not about intense, sweaty sessions every single day for everyone. It's about breaking up long periods of sitting, taking a 5-minute walk around the block, doing some stretches while waiting for coffee, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, even just standing up and doing a few squats every hour. These micro movements add up. They improve circulation, boost energy, clear your head, and prevent that awful desk-bound stiffness. I used to think if it wasn't a full workout, it didn't count. But now I know every little bit helps. It's about making movement a natural part of your existence, not an extra chore you dread. And the mental clarity that comes from just stepping away from the screen for a few minutes and moving your body, priceless. You come back feeling refreshed and often with a new perspective on whatever you were working on. This one is a total game changer, and it's something I wish I'd embraced decades ago: mindful eating. Now, this isn't about going on a strict diet or counting every single calorie. This is about paying attention. For so long, my eating habits were, well, mindless. Eating in front of the TV, scrolling on my phone, scarfing down lunch at my desk while still typing away. I'd finish a meal and barely remember tasting it, let alone feeling satisfied. And then, inevitably, I'd feel like I needed to eat more or reach for unhealthy snacks. Not because I was truly hungry, but because my brain hadn't registered the experience of eating. The habit I truly wish I'd started sooner was slowing down, putting away distractions, and really experiencing my food. Not every single meal, because life happens, but making it a conscious practice whenever possible. It's about noticing the colors, the textures, the smells, the flavors. It's about chewing slowly and putting your fork down between bites. It's about listening to your body's hunger and fullness cues. When I started doing this, a few incredible things happened. Firstly, I actually enjoyed my food more. Seriously. It's amazing what you taste when you're actually paying attention. Secondly, I naturally started eating less because my body had time to register that it was full. No more overeating to the point of discomfort. And thirdly, my digestion improved because I wasn't just shoveling food down. It's a simple shift, but it transforms eating from a rushed necessity into a pleasurable, nourishing act. It's about respecting your body and the fuel you put into it. Alright, for habit number 6, let's talk about procrastination. We all deal with it, right? You look at a task, it seems a little overwhelming, so you decide to just do it later. And later turns into never, and the small task balloons into this massive, stressful thing hanging over your head. The habit I wish I'd started sooner is what I call the 2-minute rule. It's so simple. It almost feels silly, but it is a superpower against procrastination. The rule is this: if a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. That email you need to respond to? 2 minutes. Taking out the trash? 2 minutes. Washing that one dirty dish in the sink? 2 minutes. Putting away your laundry? Okay, maybe a little longer, but you can at least fold one thing in under 2 minutes. The point is to stop postponing the small stuff. When you consistently knock out these tiny tasks, you build momentum. Your brain starts to realize, oh, this isn't so bad after all. You clear your mental clutter and you create a much cleaner, more organized environment, both physically and mentally. It's about building a habit of action, not inaction. Instead of letting these tiny tasks pile up and create a low-level anxiety, you just do them and get on with your life. I started applying this rule to everything, and it's been incredible for my productivity and my peace of mind. Now for habit number 7, and this one is tough for a lot of us, myself included: digital decluttering. I'm not saying you need to go off the grid or throw your phone in a river, but for years my phone was basically an extra appendage. I'd wake up, check it. I'd eat, scroll on it. I'd go to bed, watch something on it. My brain was in a constant state of overstimulation, and I didn't even realize the toll it was taking on my focus and my ability to be truly present. The habit I wish I'd started sooner was creating tech-free zones and times. For example, leaving my phone in another room while I'm eating dinner, or committing to an hour before bed with no screens at all. It was about intentionally putting up boundaries with my technology, and the results were insane. I started having more meaningful conversations with friends and family. My sleep improved dramatically. I had time to read, to think, to just be with my thoughts without a constant stream of notifications. It's easy to think we need to be connected 24/7, but the truth is, most of the time, the digital world can wait. Creating small, tech-free pockets in your day gives your mind a much-needed break and allows you to reconnect with the real world and the people in it. Next, a habit that I thought was just for angsty teenagers, but turns out to be one of the most powerful tools I have: daily journaling. I know, it sounds a little fluffy, but I'm not talking about writing a long diary entry every night. I'm talking about taking 5 or 10 minutes to just get your thoughts out of your head and onto a page. For years, I would let thoughts and worries just swirl around in my mind, creating a jumbled mess of stress and confusion. I'd feel overwhelmed but couldn't even pinpoint why. The habit I wish I'd started sooner was using a journal as a tool for clarity and self-reflection. It's like a conversation with yourself. You can use it to brain dump your worries, to celebrate small wins, to clarify your goals, or to just reflect on how you're feeling. There's a magic that happens when you write things down. You can see your problems from a different perspective, often realizing they aren't as big as they seemed in your head. It's an incredibly therapeutic and organizing habit. I've solved problems, calmed my anxiety, and gained so much self-awareness just by spending a few minutes with a pen and paper each day. It's a simple act of mindfulness that gives you a deeper understanding of yourself. This next one is all about mindset. For a long time, I thought of learning as something that ended after school or university. You get your degree, you get a job, and that's that. The habit I wish I'd started sooner was viewing learning as a lifelong, proactive pursuit, not a passive one. I was always waiting for the next opportunity or problem to force me to learn something new, rather than intentionally seeking out knowledge and skills. The habit I wish I'd adopted earlier was carving out dedicated time to learn something new, even if it was just for 15 minutes a day. This could be anything: listening to a podcast on a topic that interests you, watching a YouTube tutorial on a new skill, reading non-fiction books, or even just following interesting people on social media who share valuable insights. When you are proactively learning, you stay curious, you stay relevant, and you open up so many new opportunities for yourself, both professionally and personally. It's not about becoming an expert in everything, it's about consistently expanding your knowledge base and keeping your mind sharp. I was so focused on the doing that I forgot about the learning, and now I see how much easier the doing becomes when you are always a student of life. And finally, my 10th habit, and maybe the most important one on this list, scheduling free time. For years, my calendar was a tightly packed schedule of work, appointments, and errands. My free time was just whatever was left over. And if there was nothing left over, I'd just push through, get more done, and burn myself out. The habit I wish I'd started sooner was treating my rest and my hobbies with the same importance as my meetings and my deadlines. I started to literally put free time on my calendar. I'd block out an evening to read a book, a Saturday morning to go for a hike, or a half hour to just sit and do nothing. It sounds silly, but when it's on your calendar, you're far more likely to honor it. You're telling yourself that your well-being, your happiness, and your mental recharge are just as important as everything else. This isn't about being lazy, it's about preventing burnout and making sure you have a life outside of work and responsibilities. It's about creating space for joy, for rest, and for the things that make you, you. I've found that when I intentionally schedule my downtime, I'm not only happier, but I'm also more productive and focused when I am working. Because I'm not just running on fumes, I'm running on a full, well-rested tank. It's a powerful act of self-care that your future self will absolutely thank you for. So there you have it, 10 habits that have truly changed my life for the better. These aren't just things I read in a book, they're things I've actually implemented and seen the results of. The best part is that you don't have to start all 10 at once. Just pick one, the one that resonated with you the most, and try it out for a week. See how it feels. Because remember, big changes come from small, consistent actions. I'd love to know in the comments below, what's one habit you wish you started sooner? Or what's a habit you're going to try starting today? Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.